welcome to another episode of Beer for Breakfast ABV, virtual style social distancing. I am Danielle from the morning show on 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime with me, Paul Segura, Brewmaster of Karl Strauss.
Si, Senor.
Hey, buddy.
Hola.
We also have Brian Brooks, founder and brewmaster of SouthNorte. We also have Breanne, brand and marketing VP, also beer lover. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, so we're jumping right in. We are getting right into the Si Senor Mexican Lager. Ryan, I remember the first time you came on Beer for Breakfast and you brought the Si Senor, and I have been a lover of it ever since. It is the perfect Mexican lager, summer beer, exactly what we need in San Diego.
Yep, thank you so much. This is my little baby, my love. It took me years to kind of develop this and formulate it to what it is today, so I thank you for appreciating it, enjoying it.
This is a medal winner, is it not?
Yeah, last year at the Great American Beer Fest in the green ale category, got a gold.
Yeah.
What was your inspiration for this beer?
The very beginning, it was kind of a hybrid. I wanted Modelo meets Tecate. Those are the two beers when I go down to Mexico, especially in Tijuana and other parts of Baja that you just drink a lot of. So I needed to make a craftier version, a less watered down version of my Mexican favorites.
I'm glad you said that because it tastes like a much more flavorful especial to me.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, it still has a Pilsner malt base, a little two-row in there, a familiar tiny bit of corn to get that familiar sweetness. Very low on the IBUs. The bitterness is pretty low, and fermented nice and cool to get that crisp, clean flavor.
Well, and it's 4.5% also, so you can put a couple of these down and You're fine. This is the perfect day drinker. Also, makes the most amazing michelada ever. It is so good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's an open palate
for breakfast. That's what we're talking about.
See.
I think you just gave Ryan an idea with the michelada thing.
Maybe.
Just saying, man. Just saying. Also, you will recognize the Si Senor can if you've been watching Fox 5 at all. I have been seeing the commercials for SouthNorte on Fox 5. I saw it the first time on 4th of July, and I was like, wait a second, what? I hit up Ryan right away. I was like, dude, you're on TV!
No, that's you got to give Breanne a lot of credit for that one.
Dude, Breanne, that was everything behind it. It was a funny commercial. It kept my attention, and it was one of those just we paused and rewind to make sure that, that was a local, independently owned craft brewery in San Diego. What?
How often do we see that?
Yes, if I could hold the cam properly. We're very, very excited. Got to get the right angle on the video. It's so cool to hear people's reactions to that because we did turn it around fairly quickly, probably in record time, the fastest I've ever seen in the business. And I've been in the beer business for over 10 years. So we turned around the production on that within literally from story development to producing, editing, and getting it out within 2 weeks. So it was a team effort with our agency, Gallegos United, as part of the United Collective. And so we're very fortunate. John Gallegos is an owner in our business and is helping us support and get awareness across the brand in front of our consumers. And it's especially cool for us because we don't have our own tap house or brewery yet to allow people to come in and experience us and get to know us as a brand. So especially right now with everybody at stay-at-home measures and COVID and everything that's going on right now, we thought, hey, why don't we do something a little different and try to get in front of some people watching some TV and drinking some beer.
I love that. Before we get into the Agavemente, Breanne, this is our first time meeting. What is your background? Where did you come from?
Great question. I grew up in Temecula, so I am a pretty much a San Diego local. Most people didn't know where Temecula was at, so it always became San Diego. Then I went to San Diego State, so I held true to that. I've been, does that mean you're an Aztec as well?
Yes. Oh, yes, Aztec for life.
Yes. Okay. Cheers to that. So I've been in the beer business a little, over 10 years. I started at Diageo with Guinness, pouring the perfect pint of Guinness. So I started on an Irish brand, still love that brand. That's what got me started in the business. So I'll always have love for that brand in my heart. Worked on both sides of the beer and the spirits business with Diageo across all of California. And realized once I went into the spirit side of the business that I'm definitely more a beer drinker. I can drink a lot more beer and stay alive and wake up the next morning than I can when I start drinking spirits. So beer. I love a margarita, but it's not, I can't crush as many. So then I moved over to Constellation at that point, and I was with Constellation working on their Mexican import beer portfolio across sales and marketing across the whole West Coast for basically the last 9 years until March 2020, when I made the jump over to SouthNorte, get to work with Ryan every day and learn from him. And it's been a challenge for sure, beginning of the year, but we've got some good momentum behind us. And most importantly, we have great beer, and Brian continues to be able to brew great beer. And so we're fortunate.
Well, welcome back over to the indie side. We welcome you with open arms. And as we know, Ryan, you have such a pedigree here in San Diego and also in Baja. Real quick, because you have 1 foot down in Mexico and 1 foot here in the States in San Diego. What is your story for anybody who happens to not know the Ryan Brooks?
It really goes back to 2003 when I started doing a lot of music down in Baja. And then quickly I met my now wife. And when I got the opportunity to work at Coronado Brewing, I was driving from Fallbrook to Coronado. I thought, this is crazy. I'll just go rent an apartment down in TJ. So I lived in TJ for almost 2 years, became really good friends with a lot of the homebrew club people and a lot of the now actually professional brewers down there. And my claim to fame is stealing yeast that we're going to put down the drain and give it to the craft beer friends in Baja. So my relationship was because of hooking people up and speaking at seminars and judging at different festivals, and it just goes from there, really.
That is such an awesome story.
We're still brewing a little bit in TJ now. We're hopefully brewing next week in TJ for the first time in months. At Telefonica, and I'll also have another little project we're working on to have more SouthNorte available in all of Baja.
Can't wait.
The beers in Baja have come a long way in the last 10 years, and I think you've probably had something to do with that to some degree.
Or the yeast. You have the yeast to hand them.
It's pretty awesome now, no matter where you go, sort of, in TJ or Rosarito or Ensenada, to have really good independent craft beer. And you're somewhat of a star down there. Everybody knows you. You've kind of become iconic, I think, to that crowd down there.
I love the people. They're so much fun to be with, and they're such a great, just not only brewers, but it's like a family down there. They're always been so accommodating and help me out, and even with my shitty Spanish, they help me quite a bit.
Yeah.
They've kind of got a little bit of that San Diego independent beer like culture down there, where they're sharing a lot of their successes and failures and helping their neighbors get better. That rising tide philosophy.
Absolutely, I 100% agree.
Mm-hmm. So I started on Agavemente without you guys, because this is.
I saw you crack that can.
Well, I was just like, I'm just going to start drinking this one because it's such a fun beer. The Agavemente, brewed with hibiscus and agave. How did you come up with this, Ryan?
So we actually came up with it without the hibiscus in it. We wanted to make a stronger Si Senor, and using the agave to help boost that. And during that, we thought, it's cool, but it's not that much different than Si Senor. So let's kick it up a notch and age it on fresh hibiscus tea. So we actually take the flowers from the plant, steep them in hot water, and then that hot tea goes into the tank and kind of ages for about a week. And then we get that beautiful color from it.
It almost looks like Jamaica, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. You're right.
And it's not overly sweet, and that's what I love about agaves. Agave has just that perfect little like touch of sweetness, but it's not an overbearing sweet that I would get like out of like a honey.
Mm-hmm. And if you drank this beer before we put the hibiscus or jamaica in it, you would think it's sweet. It does end up pretty sweet, very low IBUs. But what happens is the kind of tannic, I guess the bitter, earthy, herbal, tea-like flavors from the jamaica hibiscus balances out that sweetness quite a bit.
So you've added just the right amount, because sometimes the flowers can add a little bit of tartness in the finish.
Yeah. Yes.
And you've got all the color and the flavor without that tartness. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Paul, do you remember where you were the first time you tried Agavemente?
Oh boy, I might have been at Coronado. I'm not sure.
No, that's not where you were, because I was with you. I was with you the first time we ever tried Agavemente, and it was not there.
Was it on Beer for Breakfast?
We tried it for the first time at the Great American Beer Festival when SouthNorte was there. Wasn't canned, was still like baby beer, and that was the first time we ever tried it. And I remember just being like, whoa, dude, this is a beer that I have never, ever tried before.
I think you were the one that went back for like seconds and thirds, maybe even fourths. I did remember
that was me, and then I was let loose downtown Denver, and it was a whole mess.
I don't remember very much about any of the GABFs. I don't know why.
Although
the Agavemente also did win a medal just this last year too, silver, right? It was a bronze, and then we
17 bronze.
Up his game.
It was a good GABF. It's I'm glad that the judging is still happening. Bummed out that we all don't get together, but I'm sure there'll be lots of viewing parties, and we'll be cheering from here for everybody to hear in Denver.
Well, you're speaking for yourself, because we still might get together with Ryan. We're going to try to get him into the judging of the competition, and
as long as you're 6 feet apart from each other.
We might carpool, so I don't know if that's possible.
Before we transition into our last beer, what is the easiest way to keep up and get SouthNorte beer? I mean, like you said, you don't have a tasting room, so where can the people get the beer?
Go for it, Breanne.
Everywhere in San Diego. No, we are focused on, really pushing into the off-premise. A big part of our restructure plan coming, with COVID and coming out of COVID is really being able to pivot quickly. We're so lucky. We're a nimble team. Everyone wears a ton of hats and is ready to just get dirty and get after it and try to push forward in any way we can, bring the community together, bring people to still drinking beer, but at home consumption. So the off-premise has been a really big focus for us. About 80% of our business is now in the off-premise, which is a crazy change from what it was 6 months ago, where 80% was on-premise driven. So we're fortunate. We're in Target. We just landed Target. That was a big one for us. We're in Trader Joe's, Ralph's, Vaughn's, select locations throughout San Diego, as well as Whole Foods, Bevmo, and then all your independent liquor stores and all of the markets that are still open, such as like Daniel's Market, Fallbrook, and things like that. So really trying to just do what we can to support across the industry, work with our on-premise accounts when they can open again. But that's across the market, San Diego right now. And then a little bit in Baja once you can start crossing the border. And we are looking at expanding actually at Q3, Q4 of this year. A little bit further north.
All right.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear about that. Paul, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm going to speak for you. When Ryan first came on Beer for Breakfast for SouthNorte, there was 2 beers. There were 2 beers, and it was just this little baby project. And Breanne, to hear you say all the places that now have SouthNorte, it is so warming for my heart. It just makes me so happy to see this little baby breweries just really start to grow and expand and have such a good reputation in all of Southern California and Baja. Like it makes me so happy to see such a genuinely good brewer making it happen.
Thank you.
And it's really cool too that you guys were off and running, and like you guys had so many good placements, especially in the off-premise before COVID started, because a lot of those off-premise accounts have been actually faring fairly well during COVID. People are still drinking, but they're buying it at some of those locations and bringing it home.
Yeah.
So it was indeed fortunate that you're not trying to get off the ground during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a quick pivot, which is we're just, we're very fortunate. We really are. We weren't stuck with a lot of sitting on a ton of inventory when the COVID closures in the on-premise drastically came to a halt. That helped us out a little bit. We were lucky to have backup inventory of cans already in stock, because now the can production, as everybody's heard, is tight and timelines are tight. So, it's very much a humbling experience, but as long as we can keep pushing forward and kind of, nurture and take care of the industry and our beer community and the retailers that are open, and the ones that aren't yet, but hoping to be open again. I mean, that it means it's a community for us. It's we want everybody to be able to survive and get through it and hopefully come out stronger in the end in some form or fashion.
Well, and as long as we all stick together and we continue to do our part, even if you're not in the beer industry, buying locally, independently owned beer helps so much. And so just remember, where you choose to put your dollars, these are the faces of the product that you're putting in your body, including this one. This is one of the freshest beers we have had on Beer for Breakfast. This was canned yesterday, right, Ryan?
That's right.
No way.
I'm so glad you got the best possible.
No way.
Ryan, do the ones they have, is it dated the Seaway?
It is, yeah.
Oh yeah, 731.
714.
Very nice.
No way or no gooey, depending on who you're asking, is this beer. And my favorite thing is what's on the side of the beer, where it says, when life throws you mangoes, brew a tasty IPA with chili and lime. Oh, yes, way. This is the No Way Mango IPA.
I like the Hecho in San Diego.
That's us. We are Hecho in San Diego.
Cheers. It's a great beer. I love this
beer.
This is a fun one. This is a different beer because it is an IPA. We have a load of hops in the last 10 and whirlpool of the boil. It does not get dry hop though, because of how we re-ferment with real mangoes. We don't want to cover up that awesome real mango flavor with more hops. So we allow the hops just to stay on the hot side. Then after fermentation is where we re-ferment with real mangoes. And that really brings up that real bright, tropical, obviously mango note. But there also is a little bit of tahini spice in the whirlpool, and that kind of adds a little bit of complexity. It doesn't bring out a heat or a burn, but just maybe a little bit of like, oh, there's something else there more than just hops and mango. So if you can,
damn it, I should have made a tahini rim.
You can.
I'm so mad at myself right now.
This beer is great.
Yes, you absolutely should. That is my favorite way to drink it. Actually, I'm sorry that I didn't have that already pre-rim for the show as well, but it is. Ryan told me the first time I got my hands on this beer, because when I had started, I hadn't even tasted this beer. I had tasted the lagers and I was sold. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, the company knows good beer. They can make good beer. And as soon as I got my hands on this one, Ryan gave me the instructions, do the whole tahini rim, and it's
rookie move, Danielle. Rookie move.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Hey, Danielle, we could still do the tahini rim when we do the audio version of the show.
That's
on
actually
Friday.
That's 100% what I was thinking, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring some tahini with me for Friday morning. It is Beer for Breakfast on the morning show with Marty. Paul joins us on FaceTime audio, and we will be drinking SouthNorte beer this week. Happens at 9:10 on 91X. Before I say goodbye to Ryan and Breanne, is there anything else you would like everybody to know about SouthNorte?
Just we're pushing it real hard. You're going to see it in more places than you have probably in the past couple of years, thanks to Breanne and their help, our distributor. And just enjoy good local craft beer. If you want to go for a michelada or maybe a macro Mexican lager, turn a little bit to your left and grab a fresh Si Senor or Agavemente.
Yes, I love that. Ryan and Breanne, thank you so much. Paul, as always, I could not do it without you. Thank you,
No
everyone.
No way.
Cheers to independently owned craft beer and radio in San Diego and Baja. Remember, 91X is in TJ.
Yeah.
91X.